Hello and welcome back to Inner Peace Place. Today's topic is manifesting through flow. How do you connect with flow so that you can manifest in a direction that makes you happy? All right, so if we're trying to manifest, it's not going to be forced. Okay, so if you've ever tried to force something to happen, it usually doesn't come out well, does it? The energy just gets all chaotic and people start pushing back at you. It just isn't a pretty thing. It can be quite ugly sometimes. So if you're trying to force a situation to happen, it means that you're stepping out of the flow that you've selected for your future path, your inner peace path. Flow and force don't go in the same sentence normally. So forcing something and flowing with it, it just can't happen. So if you're chaos driven, you're going to be more apt to try to force things to occur. So prior to saying something in the forceful direction, obviously take your breath, relax, find some guidance there. But we want to ask ourselves a few questions prior to doing this. What is your desired outcome? Do you really know with what you're about to say? Are you connected with that outcome? Is that outcome peaceful and joyful? Could be, could not be, whatever. Is there more than one way to obtain your desired outcome? So these are all questions that you could instantaneously go through in your mind's eye or in your head, or you could just sit down with a piece of paper and pencil after you've already done your chaotic, controlling behavior that I'm sure many of us, we don't even have that. So whether or not you're able to do it in the moment before you say something, that would be very skilled, and that's where we're headed. But normally after something happens, we would sit down and say, okay, what was my desired outcome when I said that? Is there other outcomes that could be just as good, you know? What are the ways to obtain what I wanted? Maybe there's multiple choices. Because many times when we're having reactive behavior or behavior from purely the personality self past, we can only see one option. Our options are limited. And that is so very common. Well, of course, this is how we need to do it, is what you say, so all-knowingly. Of course we're going to do it this way. This is how it needs to be done. Why would you even ask me that? But actually, for almost anything in life, there are multiple ways to get the same accomplishment, to get the same outcome, to accomplish what you wanted. So you might want to ask yourself, am I acting on impulse or through old habits? Am I just, something from my past is bubbling up here, which is fine. Lovingly look at it and say, oh, I recognize you, you silly, sneaky little thing, you. What's motivating you to do this? So I'm manifesting. My goal is to manifest flowingly, peacefully, lovingly. And yet, what's my motivation? What's behind it? What's the energy? I love that word. What is the energy behind what I am, what is motivating me? Is it upward flowing? Could be floating too, couldn't it? Motivation or downward spiral? As you were talking, if you're doing this in retrospect, if you're in the moment, see how your connection is, how your awareness of your connection is. Is it big? Are you big at that moment, or were you tiny and reactive? When you were doing this activity or about to do it, does it feel good? Does it feel right? That's another way to judge something you're about to do or say. Am I going to feel better after I say this? Does this feel right? Good? Uplifting? Or is everybody in the room going to take a nosedive because of the energy that's about to come out of my mouth? If you feel that you are needing to protect or defend or justify something, that feeling comes from your personality self habits from the past. Those feelings do not come from an active awareness of your connection. So just know that. It's not that you want to poo-poo them or say they're bad. It's just anytime you're having those feelings bubble up, know that it's not coming from this moment. It's coming from somewhere in your past. Is my new habit going to make that area of my body that defense mechanism was kicking in, or I needed to justify why I said something, or whatever's going on at the moment, make that space bigger. Take your breath, relax, find it in your body. It has to be in your body. It's not going to be in somebody else's. It's not going to be on the chair over there. Find it in your body and make it bigger. Take your breath and pretend that energy is flowing out in all directions, 360. Make that part of your body bigger, because when you have no flow, it means it's crimped up. And so you're not able to judge or make decisions at that moment with very much opportunity because you're all crimped up. So expand it, make it as big as possible. So as we're learning to listen and feel, that's what's creating inner peace. It's kind of all wrapped up in one. And even though we might be saying this type of work, we're saying use these skill sets, we're using them from different viewpoints. So we're talking about, in this situation, how do I do it? In that situation, how do I do it? It's the same skill, but how do I trick, coerce my personality self to jump on board so that after this occurs, I can feel good and the people in the room will feel good. And what I'm about to do, say, feel, is it going to flow for me? Is it going to create a new flow, an upward flow? I don't want to have reactive behavior when I am communicating with others, or perhaps reading a letter that someone wrote me and I don't like it. That could create reactive behavior. I may just have the feeling of it. I may not actually say anything because the individual who sent it to you isn't sitting there. But all of these build up, and we want to say, oh, wow, they had a very opinionated idea about what occurred, and they were stressed out about it enough to write a letter. So I'm going to get big as I read the letter the second time. The first time you probably didn't know it was going to be negative. So the second time you read it, you get big and you relax, and you can see from different eyes. You can find different energy behind the words as you read it that second time. So when you have a situation that's occurring or has occurred, find in your body where it first started building up. If you're doing this from something you're remembering, find it. If it's in the moment, find it. In that situation, make it bigger before you say anything. Just think about it. Relax into it and make it bigger. Now, this is difficult to do in the moment because we've not done it for years and years and years, right? And so learning to do this skill takes practice, but you can do it. I have done it, and I was the queen of reactive behavior. Now I'm just a princess. or maybe less, hopefully. So if another person is involved intimately with this situation, in other words, in the room as something is going on, find that flow and you can figure out, did something change in me that made the flow kind of start going cattywampus? Was it a feeling in the room that changed? Was it coming towards me? Was it going away from me? Play with these feelings that you're having, because this is going to teach you more than anything else. You can't control your behavior. You can't shift your behavior into more peace-filled, in a more peaceful direction until you understand it. And by doing these little activities, either in retrospect or in real time, you are going to grow so fast. But it takes, I'm going to do this. I am worthy of this. This is work that I am joyfully going to learn about me. You're not learning about the other people. You're learning about you and how you act around in situations. Usually in peaceful situations, you're peaceful. Not a problem. It's those sneaky ones that get you and you go, oh man, I did it again. You can learn this in real time. So if you want to create power for yourself, if you want to manifest through flow, you have to become the queen of upward flowing energies. You won't create the type of lifestyle you want if you maintain a habitual reactive behavior to energies and or to things that you feel are attacking you. So we're shifting to manifest through flow. We can manifest through chaos. We have done it. We've done it really well, remember? We're experts at it. And the chaotic manifestations will happen over and over and over if that's what you want. But I'm looking for power to create in an upward flowing direction. And the only way I can do that is to learn what pushes me off, what tilts me off my path, what gets me upset, what makes me feel threatened. When do I feel that someone is dissing me? That's another one I have problems with it. If I'm getting dissed, if that's even a word. So figure out when you are most likely to start manifesting out of the flow, because everything you do, think, and feel is a manifestation. So your choice is to say, ooh, in these situations, this is what I'm doing, and I have a habitual tendency to do X, and I'm going to choose to call on the powers to be a queen or king and make sure that I'm in the moment making these decisions. Remember, when you're in the moment, before you talk, your options are huge. You have so many more options that you just didn't even think about. Options are a good thing. Love and light to you and your path. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.